Okay, so Black Clover chapter 304, let's get into this review. If you could leave a like on your way in, I greatly appreciate that, but without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, if you remember where we left off, you know that Megillah had been defeated. You know, Noelle had made the final blow on her heart. This chapter starts off with the conjured soldiers starting to disappear. Megillah's curse starts to fade, and Lolopechka is no longer corrupted. Lolopechka wakes up after being unconscious, only to notice she's in Asta's hands. We get a little funny panel here where Noelle gets the wrong idea and like sends him flying. We also get to see that Undine was like shrunken down, kind of similar to like the devils, but in this instance it's saying that she used up her magic and so she's kind of shrunken down. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's kind of like a similar dynamic happening where, you know, when they use magic or when they give like a lot of their magic to their host, they kind of shrink down. Noelle and Asta then have this awkward interaction because they haven't seen each other in a minute. She goes and sends them flying again. We also have another awkward interaction between Noelle and Noelle. He still has trouble communicating to her even though the curse has been lifted. It then cuts to Rill and Charlotte. Rill had pointed out that his spell was about to run out. Charlotte says that we can't die just yet, which kind of implies that since the spell is about to wear off, then that kind of will result in them dying because they're no longer protected. We see that as the spell wears off, it no longer protects Gaja. He notices that Lolopechka is safe and then he just proceeds to collapse. Not just him, but Charlotte and Rill as well. They're dropping like flies. Lolopechka kind of makes a last ditch effort to try and recover them, but her recovery magic isn't, you know, strong enough to try and heal their wounds because they're fatally injured. Also even tries to use the Devil Destroyer sword, but that's effectively useless as well. Nock then finally arrives using one of his spells, and he kind of spits some facts. He says that the righteous aren't always rewarded, which is kind of true, you know. They kind of put their lives on the line, but unfortunately that doesn't necessarily mean they'll stay alive, but you know. He then brings another person along with his spell. We then see that it's Mimosa using some new magic. And of course with Mimosa having learned ultimate magic, she whips out a new spell that she learned. Ultimate plant magic, Flower Princess's Dreamland. Now what's crazy here is as soon as she whips out this spell, they almost come back to consciousness immediately. And I gotta say, this is no like casual feat either. This is pretty impressive, you know. She healed up Charlotte and Rill, which I was expecting, but Gaja as well. Like bro literally had a hole in his body. Charlotte and Rill, I kind of have the benefit of the doubt. They weren't necessarily, you know, they didn't have it as bad as Gaja, because I would have thought he would have been the one to go out for sure, but you know, she got all of them still, so that's a crazy feat, I gotta say. Because when you really think about it, that's not even just healing anymore. That's straight up cellular regeneration. Like, because not only they're healed and like put back on their feet, like all their wounds are gone too. That's crazy. It's also kind of ironic because Nock had just like pulled up and was talking about like righteous deeds aren't always refunded or, you know, stuff like that, which is true. But of course, it's just so ironic, like how she pulled up and then like reverted all that just like right after he said that. We then have this interaction between Gaja and Lolopechka, which caught me like really by surprise. I was caught off guard by this. Lolopechka was apologizing to Gaja because he like pretty much sacrificed and put his life on the line, and then Noelle was all like, oh, get a room, like and then like right after that he just says forget it. He straight up says I love you. And everybody's just shook, like straight shook, like all the faces are just like shocked. Not only that, but he had to make it like completely clear, like no, I'm not even talking about like as comrades or anything. You're like straight up like he said straight up like not as a queen, like as a woman, and she's straight red in the face. Everyone just has a crazy reaction. He's like, what did I do wrong? What did I say? Was it? After all that blows over, they begin to focus on the next objective. Noelle notices that everybody's gotten like way stronger, like stronger than he would even imagine they'd get. He's then confident that they have to like save Yami, that they gotta keep going. Nock then points out that after that victory, they now have one objective left, and that's to take out the next triad member. It then cuts to the battlefield where Yuno is going up against Zenon. It took place a little bit before Megillah was defeated. We get to see Longrus and Yuno pretty much standing off against Zenon, who had just recently unlocked 100% of his devil's power. I gotta say, the design for Zenon's like 100% power, like straight menacing, like how it's shaped with his face having like half bone and structure. That's like straight nightmare feel, I gotta say. And he means business too, because he says we have wasted enough time, I'm gonna put this to an end. Yuno even has the same idea because Longrus asks him, you know what's the next step? He just got 100% of the devil's power. What are we gonna do? He straight up says, just buy me 3 minutes, I'm about to put this to an end with the next attack, which got me thinking like what's gonna happen, like because Yuno and Zenon are both being business. They're not playing around. They really like plan to end it quickly. They're straight up just gonna go all out. I'm definitely anticipating this fight to be something like really special. Seeing Yuno go up against Zenon, I know for a fact this is gonna be like really epic. What's really interesting about this battle is the fact that, you know, before Zenon had unlocked 100% of the double's power. When Yuno activated Spirit of Boreas, like he straight up demolished him. Like he put up the pole arm to his chest and straight caved it in. Like it was crazy. So I'm definitely excited to see how he goes up against Zenon at full power, because we know that 60% of the power and then 100% of power is an entirely different story, but we're gonna have to see. Part of me feels like this might be a longer drawn out battle than Noelle versus Vanica, because Noelle using Saint Stage magic seemed to have overpowered Vanica like extremely. She straight up demolished her. So, but maybe Zenon might be a bit stronger, and then Yuno and Zenon might be a more equal fight, but we're gonna have to see. But then again, he also has Longers by his side. I am curious to see just if Yuno can take him down like by himself, because of course Noelle took down Vanica by herself and Magna took down Dante by himself, so I definitely want to see if this is going to be another straight one-on-one battle. But then again, I guess that's not necessarily required, because seeing a little bit of teamwork wouldn't hurt though. But yeah, Yuno versus Zenon is definitely a highly anticipated battle. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Alright, well, Yuno versus Zenon is going to be coming up in the next chapter. I'm looking forward to that. Now, one thing I'm kind of hung up on is the fact that Gaja's still alive. Not that it's bad, but it kind of like, I can't help but like see it as a plot armor, because Charlotte and Aurel, you kind of give the benefit of the doubt. Their injuries weren't necessarily as fatal. Gaja's injuries just seemed way too like fatal to have been surviving. Now, you kind of have to weigh in the feat of Mimosa's new ultimate healing magic, and also like everybody was already on their way to the battlefield, so of course Mimosa being on their way there too, they're gonna bring her, heal them up. But even then, I wasn't expecting Gaja to be healed just because of how fatal it was. But then again, that feat was also important to the plot. Mimosa of course was there to learn ultimate magic along with Noelle, Luck, and the others. So in order to convey that she was stronger, they had to show she can heal someone from fatal wounds. So that also makes sense, but at the same time, Gaja surviving kind of hit from the plot, but I guess it kind of balances out, because you have to kind of show the feat of Mimosa getting stronger. We've seen all the others portray their ultimate magic and their improvements, so we also got to get Mimosa in there, and the best way to do that was to have her heal someone from a fatal injury. So I kind of get that. Nonetheless, if you made it this far, I appreciate you sticking around. If you could leave a like on the video for the YouTube algorithm, I'd greatly appreciate that. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you can stay in the loop. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.